sweet.
That was very nice of Jared. He always does that. Jared does a lot of good stuff with Place New Jersey. So, Jared, a special SOMO out to you on the excellent job that you're doing, Jared. As a matter of fact, we got to get Jared in here one day just for him to talk about what he's doing with Place New Jersey or Essex County Place. And he's doing a very good job.
You got out of that, you just jumped over, in Columbia High School. You don't like the story. You don't like the way the story is. I mean, it's just, God. You look confused.
No, it's because, after a while, all this stuff, we gotta start getting real with this stuff. All of this stuff. And President Obama has a role to play too as well. And he's got to get somewhat real. Because, back in what year? George Bush did something when it was the Rodney King murders. Let me see if I still have that here. That thing one with George Bush. What George Bush did. Oh, no, I don't have that. No, there was an article in the Time magazine. Ferguson decision shows the brutality of racism. But anyway, back to your article. Marjorie, there comes a point in time when all of the talking's got to stop and there has to be action. It's the same in South Orange and Maplewood. We talked so many years about the achievement gap and the problem with leveling and the problem with grouping and all those stuff. And finally, after maybe a decade and a half, the talking has stopped, and now they're gonna implement some action. The same thing with the gifted and talented program as well. They're now going to implement some action. So to me, in the United States of America, all this talking about these white policemen shooting down black males, and the thing about it, man, how come most of the time it's always a young black male? How come? Is that a coincidence?
Oh, somebody told me it doesn't matter if you're young, if you're old. It doesn't matter. Just say a black if you're
male.
Big, or you're small, or you're tall.
But is that a coincidence?
Take your ass out.
Or is black males really a target for white police officers?
I think that there is a fear of, we only make up 13% of the population, and then Hispanics will eventually make up about 20-something percent. And then with Asians, so we will outnumber white people. And so the fear of this majority of minority, so-called, I think that does frighten the white population to some degree.
That's a
there
leap,
will be
though.
more of us than there are of them. And when I ask that question, because there's a question in the AP books, what do you think the social, political, and economic impact of the majority minority will be?
So you think the police trying to take that into their own hands so they can reduce?
I think that in some way, maybe. But see, I don't know. I have more faith in the future generation, as we just saw these students out here marching, or these young people out here marching. That there is this fear that if they're majority people, look, that all the people that have been deported. The people who are anti-immigration, who want all the people who aren't documented to go back or to remain undocumented and be paid at substandard wages. There's a fear that all these colored people will overtake something.
It's funny.
But I don't think that would ever happen. I really don't. But there's a fear. Yes, I do.
There are some people who want to send back all those undocumented aliens.
Yes.
But they got them working as nannies.
Yeah, or as other things. Or they're working on their lawns or other kinds of things.
It's crazy. It's really crazy.
Well, you know what? Yeah, but they are
you
they
could
paying
slave for
those
me.
people?
You could slave for me. It's okay while you're slaving for me.
But if you were here legally, then you couldn't slave for me, right? So you're
if you're here
your
illegally,
illegalness
you can
is
slave
to
for me.
benefit for others.
But it's okay to slave for me. I want you here. But if you're not slaving for me,
you should leave.
You should leave. I want you out of the country. Wow. It is what it is, as they say.
You know, so if they imprison you and I, people that look like you and I, and they send back everybody else, then maybe, you know, the America. I mean, people really believe. There's some people who really believe that, you know, things are going to get so much deeper because there's. Why do you? I mean, we have a black president, and you got all these black people getting killed. I mean, it's a fear. It's a fear of the meloned people, I think.
And why? How do you think this fear is created? How is the fear created?
We know how the fear is created, but is it a reasonable fear? No, it's not reasonable. And I don't think that all white people feel that way. Because everyone wants to preserve themselves, right? And just as white people are afraid of, and black people are afraid of I don't understand why everyone is afraid of everyone else. I mean, but we have historical reasons to be afraid. And I guess that they would say they do too. But
Black people are afraid of white people?
oh, sure they are.
In what way?
In what way?
Yeah.
Being afraid of the police is one thing.
Oh, you're talking about like, okay. In that situation.
Sure.
But you talking about
and
I don't think
if you're a minority and you're really a minority, that's kind of scary. If I was the kind of parent that would throw my kids in the car and we would drive and, anywhere. And if we were on some country road and it got dark and you couldn't see anything, or if you're a bunch of city kids who were around a bunch of trees, and I mean, people just have these fears of stuff like that. They see in their mind these movies of, headlights coming for you in the middle of the night on some southern road. People are afraid. Sure they are.
So Marjorie, what is the solution? How can we are talking about all these problems. How can we come up with some solutions to these problems? How can we come up with some solutions?
A grand solution for everyone?
No, not a grand solution.
Small clusters.
Well, if we had to sit here and say, all right, Anselm and Marjorie, you talking about all these problems. Let me hear your solution to some of these problems. What is some of your solutions that we can put out here to these problems that we are being faced today in the United States of America, as far as the police killing our black males, on a daily basis?
I can't solve that problem yet, Anselm. I haven't put my mind to that. There are other problems I'd like to solve, but I can't solve that.
But that's a big problem, though.
Sure it is. But
I can solve that problem.
Okay, let me hear your solution.
Number one.
Tell your kids to put their arms up and say, Mr. Officer, I have blah, blah, blah.
Diversity. Hello.
I thought you didn't like that word.
Number one, they use it, so I got to use it to my advantage.
Well, I mean, I would have certainly said that people need to. But when you mean diversity, what do you mean? What does that mean?
That, and I said this at the beginning.
What does it mean?
This I'm telling you what it means. I said this at the beginning. The majority population, right, is a minority population as far as the police force is concerned in their community. The minority population in the community is the majority police force.
No.
You don't get it?
No.
Okay, South Orange and Maplewood, as an example. Newark as an example, predominantly black.
Oh, the police are predominantly white.
The police are predominantly white.
Okay, so?
So there's no diversity.
In the police force.
Right. So you already know that the white police are scared of Hulk Hogan.
That Hulk Hogan thing. I think that was the wrong analogy. But go ahead.
Yeah, but
they're scared of black kids.
Yeah. Well, you call him Hulk Hogan, so I mean.
So white cops are scared of black kids, and black kids are scared of white cops.
Right.
Okay.
So what it is that there should be a conscious effort of the police force
to diversify.
And number two, make sure the police force gets serious training with how to deal with people of color.
Okay. Well, that's been proposed many times. That's what Obama's pretty much proposing. But
Marjorie,
you think?
Marjorie,
but
you
they
can't
said
go
that
to a
in
one-day
Ferguson.
course. Marjorie.
Ferguson, no, but wait a minute. Ferguson, they were saying that you can't. Black people don't want to be policemen because they don't like the police. So would you really join something that you thought was anti you?
Marjorie, don't regurgitate what you hear those people say. Don't regurgitate that.
But people
please don't. Seriously, don't regurgitate.
Would you want to be a cop?
No, I would not want to be a cop.
Do
but
black people
I know,
even look at the cops in a way like, God, I want to be like
Marjorie,
them one day?
Marjorie,
they might look at those
Marjorie,
people right there
Marjorie,
and say they want to be like those people.
Marjorie, there are people who want to be cops, but there are obstacles that make you not. For example, they used to take this test, and the test used to disqualify a lot of people of color. What they do is that they make it so difficult for you that after a while, it's like a rumor.
Oh, my God.
The rumor starts going, a rumor starts, and it just spreads like hot fire. It spreads all about the place, right? So, you know what? A lot of people say, man, I'm not going to go take that Maple South Orange test. That test is too hard.
The test is too hard for black people?
Yeah, black folks.
Well, that's messed up that anybody would even think that.
Rumors. So what it is that you have to actually, it has to be a concerted effort. Listen, you hear what Robert Giuliani said? You hear what he said? You know, so what it is that we got to get serious. We have to get serious, right? And seeing that, you know what? We can't be making these excuses because these are the excuses that they really want to hear. You know what? Oh, black folks they don't want to be cops. Yes, they do.
So they're using a test. People are saying they can't take a test because it's too hard, and that's why they're not going to become
No. People used to take the test, and a lot of people couldn't pass the test.
Okay.
All right? And because what it is that it's like the SAT. You know what I mean? It's like if you take an SAT to go to Princeton, if the SAT alone was an indication for a lot of us to get in Princeton, a lot of us wouldn't be in Princeton.
And a lot of us are not in Princeton.
Right. A lot of us would not be in Yale. A lot of us will not be in Brown University. A lot of us will not be in Dartmouth. A lot of us will not be University of Pennsylvania. Right. A lot of us will not be in Harvard. So what it is that you're using that test to eliminate people.
That's what tests do, Anselm.
Right. But you see, that's part of the discrimination.
So you would get rid of the test?
Yeah. You think to be a police officer, you really need to take a test? Seriously?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Of course. Right. Listen, wire test. Okay. See, well, I mean, it goes back to something. Okay. It goes back to the idea of merit. So if it were not for merit.
Merit and a test is two different things.
Yes, it is. No, it's not. If it were not for merit, some kind of merit system, then people would only appoint their relatives, and we would have nepotism. There would be patriotism.
But that was happen a lot in the departments here in South Orange, even in the fire department.
Yes, and hopefully those people were
handed down.
It's handed down, but those people must have taken a test. So you cannot hire people. You cannot hire people just test. Based on their family or their friends.
Okay.
And so if we say to come up with a
so the
fair
chief told
method,
them what was going to be on the test. How about that?
Sure, he did.
Okay, how about the chief give you all the information that's going to be on the test?
Just like your father,
but is that right?
A blacksmith that will tell you what would be on the test. Just like my uncle.
But Marjorie, if we don't have anyone in there, Marjorie,
would tell me was there,
and your father's in there, and he's giving you the information for the test.
No, your father does not. The test is not administered by your dad. Marjorie, the test is administered by some state agency.
Marjorie, you're missing the point.
No, I understand what you're saying but you're saying that it's beyond the ability. We keep getting this goes back to that all the time. You're saying that it's beyond the ability of those people to take that test.
No, I'm not saying that.
So because
I'm not saying that.
My mother was a teacher, that means I knew how to take a test to become a teacher? No.
Your mother will be able to teach you better how to take the test.
Yes, well, that is the whole problem with anybody. If you were a bricklayer, your son would be better at taking a test on becoming a bricklayer. That's just the way that is.
But Marjorie, that's what keeps the fire department the way it is with less diversity. Because if my father is in charge, and for some sort of legacy, right, I am able to get in the fire department because of my father, or my father is a superintendent in the police force, and I'm able to get in the police force because of my father.
Well, what about the test you had to take? You're saying
you have to take the test, but sometimes the test is just to eliminate certain people.
That's right. That's why we have tests.
That's what